Hello everyone, today we're going to make a reaction to Geography Now Slovenia. Originally description, I'll start the video.
A long time ago, when you guys sent me this
Alright
shirt,
then.
made it into a gym shirt, and I don't know. I guess I'm a
We'll
big
be
kid in Slovenia.
also
Now it's
also
real.
reacting to
Slovenia,
Bosnia
and all
and
Balkan
Croatia after
countries.
this.
Actually, the Thracian Peninsula that connects to.
Excuse me.
Please just let me have this one moment. No, but for real, if there was ever a country that could fit nowhere yet everywhere all at once, it would probably be Slovenia. Welcome to the Switzerland of the Balkans.
Slovenia episode.
It's time to
Let's learn about Slovenia.
Alright, I'm gonna change this shirt. Oh, what's this? Yes, you can get a Geography Now
Okay,
shirt at
excuse me.
geographynow.com. It's not selling out if it's my
This
merch.
is interesting.
Anyway, everybody, I'm your host Barbs. Well, we've said this many times before, but if the Balkans were family, it would kind of be like...
Slovenia, come join us.
Hey! Oh, what? Oh, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good with this wine. Okay. Wie auch immer, ich habe Düsseldorf besucht und...
What
the You German wannabe.
You're a fake.
Ich habe ein anderes Haus gekauft und... Yeah, Slovenia
Excuse me.
kind of has a whole other thing going on in the Slavic world. Let's find it on the globe now, shall we?
This is a new. Alright.
So, in Europe, Slovenia is one of the lesser-known nations that doesn't get as much relative spotlight on the international stage. They definitely know how to hold their ground as a country and function efficiently, though, mostly. I mean, there may be a few demarcation controversies, which will be explained in the motion graphic. For one, Slovenia, which, by the way, looks like a screaming chicken, is located right at the crossroads of the Balkan Peninsula, South Europe, and Central Europe, bordered by four other countries, Italy, Austria, Hungary, and Croatia. In the west, they have a small 29-mile or 47-kilometer-long coast with the Adriatic. It could have been longer if Italy hadn't totally swooped in and grabbed this town, Trieste, which Slovenia kind of claims used to be theirs a long time ago, but that's another story. This also creates a weird triangle-shaped maritime dispute with Croatia on the Gulf of Piran. The issue was actually brought to the International Court of Justice in The Hague. And today, based on the Drnovšek-Račan agreement, the boundaries look like this and give Slovenia a very small 16-kilometer-long, 2.5 nautical-mile-wide corridor to the international waters known as the Junction Area. But that's not all. Along the border, Slovenia still claims the left bank of the St. Odoric Canal, built centuries ago, extending about 7 kilometers inland. This thin slice at the narrowest, only about 24 meters wide, has crop fields with a few buildings, and even a casino that is de facto run by but
Excuse me.
like,
Okay, this is
it's
interesting.
ours. In fact, much of the border confusion is just with Croatia, mostly along the historical river boundaries that shifted, so everything is a mess. You go to the end of the beak at the tri-point with Croatia and Hungary, you can clearly see the scrambled mess on the Mur and Big Kra rivers with narrowly attached amorphous blobs of land. Head south and you find the Brezovica-Prometliki dispute with arbitrarily drawn lines between them and Croatia, established around World War II. Anyway, the capital and largest city is Ljubljana, meaning the loved one, located in the central west part of the country. From there, the secondary subdivision of the country is, I kid you not, 212 municipalities, 11 of which are classified as urban municipalities, meaning they have over 20,000 people and are economic and cultural centers of their regions. To make things a little easier, though, the country is also divided into 12 statistical regions for the purpose of data collecting. These regions, though, have no official administrative function in themselves. Ljubljana, of course, has the largest and busiest airport, Jože Pučnik International, where most people fly into when visiting. From there, only two other international airports exist, one in the second largest city, Maribor, which can be found about 100 kilometers northeast, and the third in Portorož, on the coast of the Adriatic, whose IATA code is PAO. Speaking of the coast, the largest and busiest seaport is located at
The PAO
Koper,
was
where the vast majority of cargo is transported.
it was
From
also
there,
used
an
in
extensive network
the
of
comic
roads connect every
and even
municipality,
Adam
including the
West's
longest
Batman,
one, the A1 highway that
1966.
starts on the coast and ends in Austria. And just like the highways, the country has a network of state-owned rail lines that more or less parallel the same roads.
Slovak and Slovenia have similar names.
On shifting riverbeds always end up in what I like to call the Balkan dilemma. Quick side note though, if you ask Slovenians how they might divide their country apart from, 212 municipalities, they might refer to the 7 traditional regions. People still disagree on what actual boundaries are for these regions, but it kind of maybe more or less looks like this. And each of them have their own stereotypes, regional culture. If
I
you
don't
are
know
Slovenian, feel
much.
free to write down in the comments how you would describe each traditional region. I don't know, I heard like Primorska are like the talkative, temperamental people, and like Styria is like the happy, drunk, Austrian-influenced people. I don't know. What do you think? In any case, when you come and look at Slovenia, you'll notice that within this small country, there's like a profusion of fusion. Nowhere else in the world can you really get a country that mixes all three of the largest ethno-linguistic people groups of Europe, the Slavs, the Germanic, and the Latin. Which brings us to the notable places section. Some of the top notable sites of Slovenia might
let's learn about places.
Ljubljana Castle and the Dragon Dragon Bridge, the
Well,
autonomous
I
Menokova
see.
Art Center, the prehistoric pile dwellings of
Mhm.
Ljubljana More, the wine regions, especially in Vipavo, the Honey Cookie Museum, the
Alright
Planica
then.
ski jump, the traditional herdsman
Alright.
huts of Velika Planina. There are too
Okay.
many castles, 500 to
Castles.
1,000 castles throughout the country, depending on what you consider a castle. There's even one in a cave, and there are over
Okay.
2,500 historic churches. The most famous one, and the one you'll probably see on a lot of postcards,
Well,
Lake
this
Lead
would be the
Island Church.
thumbnail.
It's the only natural island in the country, and tradition says that the groom has to carry the bride all the way up all 99 steps.
Well, I just had hip surgery, babe, so change your plans. Oh my gosh.
And it's all surrounded by beautiful waters and mountains. And speaking of landscape, it's time to move on to...
Let's learn about physical
It's
geography.
often said that Slovenia is the sunny side of the Alps. They have so much going on that even parts of the Chronicles of Narnia were filmed here. Lots of stuff to cover. So, here we go.
Yes,
First
then.
of all, the country is located right in the
Okay.
transition zone between the Alps and the Dinaric Alps that extend
Alright.
into the Balkan Peninsula. The country is predominantly
Oh,
hilly
wow.
or mountainous, with about
Alright
90%
then.
of the surface resting on at least 200 meters above sea level. At nearly 62%, it is also the third most forested country by percentage of land area in Europe after Finland and Sweden. From there are three
Alright
main
then.
subsections of the Alps in the northern part of Slovenia: the Pohorje, the Kamnik Savinja, and the largest ones, the Julian Alps. In the Julians, you can find the tallest mountain, Triglav,
alright
known for
then.
its majestic triple peaks, as depicted on the coat of arms. And just
Alright
below,
then.
nestled within these ridges, is the largest natural lake of the country, Bohin. Just above this, you'll find the longest river. Just above all this, you'll find the
Alright
longest
then.
river that flows through the country, the Sava, which flows
Sava
southeast for about
River.
615 miles, ending in Croatia. A
Excuse
branch
me.
of the Sava, the Ljubljanica, goes through the capital, and it's a very
Ljubljanica.
important river. From there, you have the smaller highlands like the Nanos and Dinaric
Nanos
Mountains in the
Mountains.
southwest, the Sava and Slovene Hills in the center
Alright
and
then.
east, which lead to the flattest part
Sava,
of the country, the
Sloven.
Pannonian Basin in the far east. As the
Alright
country is
then.
sitting not far from some major fault lines like the Dinaric Alps, the country has a few tectonic fissures like the Rasha and Divacha fault
Alright
lines.
then.
These fault lines are partially responsible for
Well,
making the entire western
I'm
part of
also
Slovenia
working
a
on
karst zone, a
after
word even
this video,
originated
I'll
from
be also
Slovenia,
working
meaning a
on
landscape
our
underlain
3
by
stop
eroded
motion
and dissolved
videos.
limestone, creating landforms like ridges, towers, sinkholes, and caves. In fact, there are over 10,000 registered caves, and many new ones are discovered annually. The longest known system in the country being
Well,
the Migovets in the northwest, also part of the Triglav
well,
National Park, with about
alright.
42,000 meters of tunnel explored. The second
Triglav.
longest one, though, Postojna, is way more
Postojna.
popular and commercialized, as it was the first cave system to have
This
electric
is
lighting
Slovenia,
in the
not
world
Poland,
in
so
1884, and even a train system built for tourists back in 1872. Yeah, no joke, whether it's the green surface of the Logarska Dolina glacial valley or the green underground river labyrinths of Postojna, Slovenia's landscape is absolutely speckled with picturesque sights. I'm more of a Leski Vinkar type of guy, but yeah, sure.
Yes.
Oh, and forgot to mention, all these fault lines are also factors that create the copious amounts of thermal springs in the south and eastern parts of the country, the largest ones being the Čatež thermal
then.
spa near Croatia. I think I got that. I don't know. So you get the mountain experience, the alpine experience, the cave
Right.
experience, and even a few coastal beaches and thermal spas. Woohoo! It's like a quintuple package deal.
Right.
Granted, they do have a lot of overcast skies and rainy days year round, but that's besides the point. Pretty good deal. And speaking of good
Okay.
deals, usually Noah comes in to finish off this segment, but he's
Well.
visiting family during the season. So let's see. As a Slavic nation, why don't we have our favorite resident Slav, Ivan, come in to fill in for this time?
Zdravo. I'm here, baby. How you doing? I actually didn't even leave, to be honest. I'm ready. If you look at the way Slovenia operates, they have quite a success story when it
Alright
comes
then.
to managing the relationship between environment and economy. In fact, the EU anointed Slovenia's capital as the greenest capital in Europe after achieving
Back to
96 out of
16.
100 detailed sustainability
Let's see.
indicators. Wow. They have become one of the fastest developing nations in Europe and enjoy a
Okay.
high level of prosperity and stability
Alright.
in contrast to other countries. Even though they only made about 11% of the population of Yugoslavia, they accounted for about a fifth of the GDP and a third of the exports. I mean, right? So when they wanted the independence, it was like, are you sure you want to go out on your own? I mean, it's a scary world out there.
Yeah, Dad, I think I got it covered.
Slovenia has been a mini powerhouse in
Alright, then.
electronics and equipment production. Some domestic brands like these produce everything from
Alright.
light aircrafts to motorcycle exhaust pipes and refrigerators. In fact, Slovenia supposedly has the most tractors per capita in the world. Weird fact, but a fact nonetheless. In addition, they're huge on wine. It is said that there is a vineyard for every 70 people in the country, and they have the
Well,
world's oldest vine
alright.
still producing fruit at around 440 years
Well,
old. And keep in
alright
mind that one vine survived centuries of wars, battles, bombings, and
Sorry.
a lot of blowing shit up.
Well,
Someone give that vine a medal of honor or something. I don't know.
uh,
Just keep going. Anyways, one other national pastime,
alright then.
beekeeping. That's right. Specifically with the native Carniolan honeybee. It is said there is about one beekeeper per 200 people in the country. Honey shops selling honey all over the place, and honey-flavored foods are everywhere in Slovenia. Honey, honey, honey is their thing. Don't try and take it. And speaking of bees and insects, here's Gary Harlow.
Gary Harlow here. As a heavily forested country, it's no surprise that Slovenia has incredible biodiversity. There's over 15,000 animal species, 6,000 plants, and 5,000 fungi, one of which is currently on my foot. And about 10% of Slovenia is protected national park, the largest one being the Triglav National Park in the northwest part of the country. You can find some of the 75 mammal species here, like European beavers, grey wolves, and European otters. Otter! Sounds like otters. Okay. Slovenia actually has one of the highest concentration of brown bears per capita in the world. And one of the most famous horse breeds, the Lipizan, is from here. Originated from the oldest European stud farm, because they're studs. And of course, every Slovenian will tell you to try and find a baby dragon. At least that's what the locals call orms. Blind aquatic salamanders that thrive in the dark, wet cave systems. That's it for me.
Then
And it's time for. That got dark fast. Okay, Gary Harlow after hours.
Thank you, Gary. All right, and with that, it's time to finish off the segment as we always do. Now, guys,
let's learn about
has
food.
a lot to offer culinary-wise, as they kind of fuse everything from South, Central, and Balkan Europe. Some dishes may include things like meatloaf with hard-boiled egg, scrambled egg soup, and Yoda. I know it sounds like. Come here, Yoda, but it's not. Yota. It's Yoda. Pucha, Yoda. And sausage, custard cake, layered strudel cake, and potica rolls. A lot of potica. For drinks, they also boast thousands of microbreweries, especially in Kamni. They even have a beer fountain in Jalek. Beer fountain, guys. Do you hear me? Nonetheless, the national drink is schnapps. Many people even make their own at home, probably in a tub. Who knows? And speaking about home life, that brings us to the people of Slovenia, which we will discuss in...
We will be learning about demographics.
Thank you, Ivan. Now, in the words of geography Irina, Slovenia is a Slavic country with its head in Austria and feet in Italy. Years of being subjugated under the Romans, Austro-Hungarians, and the Yugoslavs has shaped and molded this interesting anomaly of a nation that kind of bridges the Slavic, Germanic, and Latin cultures all in one. And it's funny because they're not the only one of these culturally divergent oddity countries. Like they're all over.
Well, it's not
most Latins are Catholic.
Well, Romania is
feeling this Orthodox thing.
And I swear I'm Nordic.
So yeah, Slovenia is not alone. Anyway, here's the graph.
Romania is my neighbor. Already watched the Estonia, but I'm also watching Malta soon in August, maybe, or
the country is predominantly ethnically Slovene at about 83%. And from there, the rest are from a slew of other countries. None super prevalent, but the largest one being Serbs and Croats at about 2% each. And the rest of the population come from mostly other parts of Europe, like Bosnia and Herzegovina. There's Romani people and Hungarians, and so on. They use the euro as their currency, using types C and F plug-outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road. Now, Slovenia's national language is, no shocker, Slovene. It's a Slavic language related to their Balkan cousins like Serbian or Croatian, but it's like way less intelligible and has a lot of weird German twists. In fact, Slovene grammar is way more confusing because not only do they have the singular and plural tenses, but they also have a dual tense to describe pairs of nouns. Here's Geography Kaya explaining.
Well, the formal Slovenian language is a unique language because it's truly romantic. It uses the dual grammatical number in addition to the singular and the plural. For example, in English language you would say dog to one dog and dogs to two dogs or more. And now in Slovene, Pes means one dog, psa means two dogs, and psi means three or more dogs. I will also give an example of verb delati, which means working, conjugation. Delam means I am working, delava means we are working, and delamo means we are working, and so on. It is used for verbs as well as nouns, pronouns, adjectives, except in some dialects. Sometimes it is very confusing even for us Slovenes. I can't imagine how hard it must be for someone who tries to learn it.
Thank you, Kaya. Nonetheless, as a small country with a rare language, the vast majority of people in Slovenia are either bilingual or trilingual, with English and German as common second and third languages. The country, in fact, ranked at one time having the 4th best education system in Europe and 12th in the world. Faith-wise, like their Croatian neighbors, Slovenia is a Catholic-influenced nation. Somewhere around 70% of the country claims to be at least some way affiliated with the church. So yeah, as you can see, Slovenia is quite a cultural anomaly. Nature-loving, Germanified, Catholic Slavs. And with so much of the great outdoors surrounding them, they've always been kind of keen on going outside and staying active. Skiing is probably their favorite pastime. In fact, many children learn how to ski in primary school. No athlete is more renowned, though, than gold medalist Tina Matze, who won the women's downhill and giant slalom events in the Sochi Olympics in 2014. Basketball and handball are popular, too. They won the Eurobasket gold medal in 2017, and third place in the World Handball Championships in the very same year. Oh, shoot, I'm talking about sports. Sorry, Art, I took a little bit of your segment. Anyway, here's Art finishing off the sports part with Art.
Wait, Slovenia and Slovakia are two different places?
Oh my gosh, Art.
Bicycling has also a long-standing tradition in Slovenia, as they have countless paths and roads that are perfect for training. They've actually won 2 Grand Tours. This guy, who was the first Slovene to win the Grand Tour in 2019, and this guy, who won the Tour in France in 2000. It's the Tour de France. The Tour de France in 2020. I can't even believe it was going on with this whole pandemic and all that.
Yeah, I guess, they had one, I guess.
Well, congrats to you, Taj Polkadar.
I know
In
this
the end,
was
though,
recorded in
one sport
2020,
that is
but
definitely in their
we're in
element would be
2026.
mountaineering. That's not a sport, but whatever. Slovenia is considered a mountaineering powerhouse, and anything that has to do with climbing, tackling a mountain, you can bet a Slovene like these guys will not be far from the elite pack. And speaking of climbing, I need to climb my way out of here, so I'm like,
That's going down. Climbing is up. There's... Tarchin, thank you, Art. You so crazy. Slovenians, they've always kind of been like a country that tries to like highlight every little claim they can. They'll even tell you they invented the wheel because the oldest known wheel ever found was in a swamp near the capital. And speaking of claims, Slovenia has a lot of
Slovenia, Slovakia, and Russia lose similar
random
flag.
Hannah's turn to take a swing at the batter's box.
Guys, it is so good to be back. I have nothing to whine about, and neither do you now, because we have a random Hannah shirt. And you can get it at geographynow.com. So Slovenia, underneath those industrious mountain folks is a people riddled and vivacious backstory. It is said that in order to be a true Slovene, you must climb the highest peak, Triglav, followed by a custom of, it goes like this.
Wow. We made it to the top of Mount Triglav. This is great, isn't it?
yeah, it's beautiful.
Come here.
That's the tradition. Many people may live with their extended family, and Sunday family lunches are very common. When a child is born, there is usually a 3-day-long party that includes a lot of wine drinking and soaking the father in wine because it is supposed to stop the baby from having flat feet. Wait, what? I was like, flat feet? Slovenes are proud of their contribution to modern inventions, such as dialysis machines, Hewlett-Packard calculators, the photograph, slide frame, the foldable wooden rec chair, and spherical liquid crystal lasers. I had a problem saying everything except for spherical liquid crystal lasers. The national costume, known as the Narodna Nosha, might be worn at special events. You might notice the slight Germanic undertones for the male costumes, with leather knee-high boots over breeches, felt hats, and finally, a scarf under the vest. For women, you have the more Slavic-looking blouses and petticoats, the most notable part of the costume being the headdress, or abva, often with an embroidered headband followed by a poofy white starched bow on the back. The bigger, poofier abvas are usually reserved for married women. Literature has always persisted in Slovene culture, with their most famed poet Francis Pesherin, and these authors and playwrights who pioneered movements like Slovene modernism, avant-gardism, and expressionism. Metropolitan architecture in Slovenia has a unique twist that mixes everything from Vienna secessionist cream-colored neo-Baroque exteriors to royalist Yugoslav and functionalist Yugoslav complexes. Paul! Someone write a letter to Paul and tell him to write his sentences better.
I'm the king of run-on sentences.
I don't even know what I just said. Speaking of construction, Slovenia is one of the few places you can see Klopotek. Tell me if I pronounced that right, guys. Don't let the image fool you. This is not a windmill, but more of a scarecrow that keeps birds away from vineyards with spinning and rattling sounds. Of course, Slovenes love celebration. They have the Lent Festival, the Novi Rock Festival, the Slovene Book Fair. They even have one one of Europe's most renowned carnival festivals, lasting 11 days in the town of Batui, and is inscribed in the UNESCO Heritage List. They celebrate Pusht, which is like a Halloween in February, where the character is sentenced to death for causing all the world's problems. That's dramatic. And speaking of all the world's problems, here is Keith with the music segment. Buy my shirt, not Keith's shirt.
You're all here to get educated again. Music of Slovenia. For one, they have one of the world's oldest known instruments, the Neanderthal flute. Made by Barebone, discovered in 1995, thought to be about 50,000 years old. Today, they moved on to more refined elements. Traditionally, Slovenian music has been heavily influenced by the Germans, Swiss, and Austrians. They are one of the few Slavic peoples that really love to play the accordion, specifically the Styrian, the oldest kind in the world according to Austria, which, you know, those Austrians, if they're anything like the Germans.
I have not reacted to Austria.
They even have their own styles of polka and waltz. During Italian influence years, many Slovene Renaissance composers like these dudes came into the spotlight. During the Austro-Hungarian Empire, things got way more Germanified. During the Romantic period, composers like these rose to the top. Nonetheless, they still respect their traditional Slovenian roots and have their own Slovene folk styles. Slavko Avsenik being probably the most famous musician of Slovenian folk music. He is known for inventing the Oberkrainer country sound that became popular in Slovenia, Germany, Austria. Today, Slovenians indulge in every genre imaginable, just like every country at this point on the face of the earth. There was a huge industrial rock movement in the 1980s, in the 90s with Laibach and a cappella band Perpetuum Jazil. The best band, though, that came at least be partially claimed by Slovenia would be Two Cellos, which I believe is Paul's favorite band.
Yeah, Luca, love you, man. You're from Slovenia. I had to put this in the episode. Two Cellos. I love that band.
He loves them. Anyway, I'm Keith. I'm awesome. Buy a Keith shirt. You know, you get to look like this sexy dude. Anyways,
never mind then.
Thank you, Keith.
Alright
with
then.
that, let's just do a very quick
I'm gonna
rundown
pretend I
of the
didn't
history
hear
of
that word.
Slovenia. In the quickest way I can summarize it, in the late 6th and 7th century, they had their first kingdom. Then Charlemagne kind of took over. Then for like 1400 years, they were part of different German-speaking kingdoms. World War I, they had a short-lived state called the State of Slovenes, Croats, and Serbs. Then the Kingdom of Serbs and Croats and Slovenes. World War II, Yugoslavia, 1991. Independence, joins the EU and NATO, joins the European Monetary Union, and those are like the biggest things. I asked you guys, the Slovene geography peeps, to give me a list of all the famous Slovene people you can think of. Here are some of the people you mentioned. There are just so many of them. I'm just going to put the list on with a montage. Feel free to screenshot this if you want and look these people up. Tarchin, do you want to be a famous Slovene? Do you? Look at me exploiting animals. Ha! Definitely not below me. And speaking of, I don't know, there's no way to really transition from a dog to friend zone. But anyway, here's friend zone.
Alright, let's learn about friend zone quickly. There's nothing much to say.
Man's best friend. How could I miss that? Dog. Man's best friend. Anyway, as we mentioned many times, Slovenia is kind of like the bridge between the Germanic, Latin, and Slavic peoples. So you'll see those countries generally kind of tie into the mix when it comes to their friends. For one, with Italy, it's kind of like a love, little bit of hate relationship. Historically, they were part of many Italian-based kingdoms and empires and rulers, like the Romans, Byzantines, and the Republic of Venice. And today, they still kind of look at the map and say, really? Trieste? Come on, Italy. Nonetheless, there are many Italian and Slovene minorities in each other's countries, and they have amicable relations. When it comes to their Balkan neighbors, Slovenia is basically the uncle that begrudgingly shows up to the South Slavic family reunion only because they are family, and no matter how different you are, you never disavow your family. Out of all the South Slavs, Serbians are the largest minority in Slovenia at about 2 to 3% of the population, and many have family within each other's countries. There was a little drama when they recognized Kosovo and the rest of the NATO allies back in the day, which created a small sour taste in Serbia's mouth, but nonetheless, they remain close. Croatia has always been a close friend, and Slovenes almost always take a mass migration to their coast for a vacation annually. Of course, there's always a little bit of drama with Croatia as well, considering the unfinished border disputes. And some Slovenians will bring up the historical claims of land that are now in Croatia that they claim were part of Slovenia in the past. But these issues are not detrimental to the overall bilateral diplomacy between these two countries. As a nation that's always kind of been at the crossroads between the three main parts of Europe, joining the Latin world with the Germanic and Slavic, it's no shocker that Slovenia also kind of acts like the nice neutral mediator for larger states. Whenever the EU wants to get involved in anything non-EU Europe country related, Slovenia is usually a good nomination for summit meetings, and not even just between the EU. Back in 2008, they even hosted a meeting between former US
I was
President
born
Bush and Vladimir Putin. When it comes to their best friends,
2008.
however, almost every Slovene I have talked to has, in some way, shape, or form, mentioned the same country, Austria. It is often said that
Austria.
Slovenes are like Slavic Austrians. They do their best to emulate the Austrian lifestyle. The influence is clearly evident in their social structure, everything from the accordion playing to the
Austria.
alpine mountaineering culture. Slovenes are totally crushing on Austrians. Austria acknowledges them and enjoys their company, but usually pays more attention to Switzerland and Germany, which in return only makes Slovenia crazier for their crush, and they do everything from learning German to dancing the waltz just to get their attention. It's cute. In conclusion, just like Triglav with its triple peaks, Slovenia is kind of like a triple bridge nation that connects the Germanic, Latin, and Slavic worlds, which is why, no shocker, so many people must be in Slov with Slovenia. Nobody's here to punch me. They're much better. Anyway, stay tuned. The Solomon Island is coming up
Goodbye.
next.